So a special banquet is going on tonight as part of the local Juneteenth celebration here in Corpus Christi. Juneteenth, of course, marking the time when the slaves here in Texas finally got word of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Our Marissa Cummings is live at Emerald Beach Hotel with a look at what's planned for tonight. Marissa.
That's right, Mackenzie. So this event is going to highlight the evolution of hair, makeup, fashion in Black culture and how it represents freedom. Now look at these beautiful ladies next to me. They look flawless and they're going to be hitting the runway later tonight, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into these looks. A banquet is held every year to celebrate Juneteenth. The person in charge is Hannah Carter. She says every year the event represents the transformation from slavery to freedom to education and finally achievement. But what does change year to year is how they choose to depict that.
We choose an industry to highlight the accomplishments of the African American. The industry we chose this year was cosmetologists.
And more specifically, hair. The man who knows hair best is Timbo Mack. He's a hair artist in Corpus Christi and is creating all the hairstyles for the runway. He says the style he's going for is wild and free because there was a time when Black people's hair couldn't be.
Over the years, when people were trying to blend in with culture or society, we actually succumbed to straightening the hair to pretty much blend in with what society would depict as being beautiful.
So Mack wants to pay homage to African American roots.
You're going to see the story told in the runway show today is how we as a people, African Americans, came from Africa. We actually wore our hair in our natural state, which was coily and kinky.
To accentuate the beautiful African hair, Evelyn Cooper is providing brightly colored African clothing.
The continent actually is vibrant and rich and colorful. And so the clothes just actually represent the continent of Africa.
And the event tonight is going to be ending with a keynote speaker, Dr. Eunice Dudley. She owns a hair care line and beauty products that are sold around the world. Reporting live, Marissa Cummings, 3 News.
Marissa, thank you very much. And